Practice makes perfect. Well, I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times, and heck, I say it all the time. But just how do you practice something to get really good at it? Now that's a great question. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to practice your cursive lettering and how you can do it at home really easily. Hey, what's up legends? Stefan Kunz here with an awesome way to practice your cursive lettering. I know that a lot of tutorials are often bland. Now I wanted to spice things up, and this is why I got these 3 different hot sauces. From 5 out of 10 to 9 out of 10, all the way up to 12 out of 10. I know that doesn't make any sense. So I've divided this tutorial in 3 steps. For every step, I'll start off with taking a little bit of hot sauce just to keep things interesting. So in this tutorial, we'll start off with what tools you'll need for this practice, then setting up the guidelines and helplines to draw awesome alphabets, then drawing the alphabet skeleton, finally adding some weight, and then I'll show you how you can even put this into a weekly practice routine. So here's what you'll need: a pencil, a pen, an eraser, and a lot of paper. And if you struggle with drawing straight lines, you can also use a ruler. So first we're gonna take a shot of this hot sauce. So I have here my breadsticks, peri peri, edgy for the nearly break. So this is the shot that we'll take. Here is the breadstick. Dip and eat. Funny. Actually, peri peri. Step number 1, setting up the guidelines. Let's first prepare our blank piece of paper by adding 4 help lines. Starting off with the baseline. So this is the baseline. Parallel to that line will be the X height, so that will be the second line. Don't space them too far apart, as you will have to draw the letters in between these. Then we'll add the ascender line, which is the one where the stems go all the way up. So that one will be a little bit traced like this here. Baseline, the X height, and ascender and descender line. You can repeat this throughout the whole piece. By the time this video goes live, I'll have a sheet ready for you that you can download and print at home. So you can go here and use the link, or go to the description below and use the link to the blog. So the first 2 lines, the lines that we've drawn in full, are the most important ones. So the ascender and descender line are optional. You do not necessarily need them, but they are also really practical. Repeat this until you have filled out the page. Don't worry if the lines are not perfectly straight, so parallel, or equally spaced. You can actually add inclination guidelines. So if you have more letters that are inclined, like an italic form will always have an inclination, then you can kind of add these lines just to help you to keep the same slant. Slant is the right word for this one. Moving on to step number 2, the 9 out of 10 hotness sauce. Oh mama, hot and gasping. It's not too bad. Just out of caution, let's get some milk in. And a 9 out of 10. Ooh. Okay, now I feel the kickback. Okay, it's getting hotter. Let's try it without milk first. It's starting to sweat a little bit. Step number 2, skeleton letters. So the full practice is actually done in 2 parts. So we'll start first with the skeleton letters. So the first part of the exercise focuses on the letter form itself. We'll be writing the entire alphabet, but all in a single stroke. This is great to practice your consistency and also your spacing of each single individual letter. So let's start off with just one little inclined style of lettering, not too fancy. So I'm starting off here with the letter A, trying to keep the shape of every single letter about the same. Once I'm done with one line, I can just jump down to the next line and keep on going. Still trying to keep up the same slant, the same shape size, W, X, Y, Z. I think I got them all. You can do this in different form and shape. So you can fill out one page with one type of alphabet, but then you can move on and then create a different style of alphabet. So for example, drawing them larger apart, or creating them more round and straight, or you can do them more edgy and narrow. So as you can see, there are a ton of different variations of skeletons that you can create. So there's not just one that you have to fill out, but you can also create them on different levels. So for example, to keep them on a different baseline, which is more of a brush calligraphy style. A lot of different possibilities. Keep on creating. Try to draw the whole alphabet and the full alphabet out so that you have a starting point where you can start off with. If you want to reuse these sheets and don't have to redraw the whole alphabet, you can also just copy them, because in the next part of the exercise, we are going to use this type of alphabet. All right, time for step number 3, hot sauce number 3, and also the hottest one out of them all, crazy hot. This might be the part that you will understand the least, because I might be fighting more the heat than anything else. It's getting hard to concentrate now. Step number 3, adding weight. All right, now that we have the skeleton, let's add some weight to every single letter. We'll cover 3 different styles in this tutorial. Number 1 is traditional contrast. The second one is mono weight. And the last one is an inversed contrast, which I use a lot of time in my lettering. Okay, let's look at the first style. So this is the normal contrast, the traditional contrast. So what I'll do is to actually draw inside the contrast in the letter forms itself. The skeleton of the letters actually help me to really just keep those same shapes, but just adding the weight. This is hot. So I'm drawing inside of the letter, outside, and however to try to fix and add the letter shape. And as I go on, I keep on filling out these letters. I feel this is one of the most important rules in lettering, calligraphy, and type design, but unfortunately one that I learned pretty late. So the downstrokes are thick and the upstrokes are thin. Side note, for this reason, it's actually important to know exactly how a letter is drawn, in which way, because that will affect which lines are thick and which lines are thin. 80% of you will do it mostly correctly, so don't worry about it too much, but it's worth actually going over it once to see which lines you have to draw in which way. I'm sweating all over here. So with a pencil, we'll start drawing the in and out line to increase the weight. An easy trick to make everything consistent is to not just draw out the inlines and outlines, but also creating a lot of different lines in between. So instead of drawing a U this way and draw the inlines and outlines like this, it's hard to notice whether or not these lines have the same thickness, the same width. An easy trick to make everything more consistent is to add multiple lines closer together in order to make it easier to nail the thickness every single time. Apply this style to all other letters of your alphabet. That way, you'll practice how to apply a style weight to every single letter. So style number 2 is mono weight. Mono means single, and so everything has the same thickness over the entire letter. So it's basically the opposite of contrast, but you can define the thickness of the letters yourself. It can therefore be thin as the line you've already drawn, or you can make it really thick so that the gaps in between are super small. Some of the lines will actually be closer together to appear as if they were all the same style or the same thickness. We start in the same way as before, adding the weight by drawing outlines here and there to achieve the mono weight effect. Don't be afraid of not getting it perfect. This is a practice exercise. So we start in the same way as before, adding weight by drawing outlines in and outside of the letters. So I'm starting here with the J, and I've decided to go with a minor thickness. Also, another style element is to decide whether or not the letters are edgy. So in this case here, I decide that the J here should be edgy and not rounded. So the endings of the lines will always be at an edge. In this case here, I don't like the K, and so I kind of want to make sure that it's a straight end. And therefore I have to make some adjustments to the letter K and change the skeleton just to make sure that it all works together. I could also do the same thing with the L, so I can erase what I've done already and also mimic the same style and adjust these lines. What I would probably do in the next step would be to get these lines closer together, and so that's something that I can always adapt in the next version that I create. Write down some notes about what you can improve in the next version, and then work on that with every single practice round you do. So one of my favorite styles, and I guess I can say also one of my signature styles, is the inverse contrast type style. And this is how you can achieve it. Instead of adding the weight on the downstrokes, we're adding the weight at the top and the bottom of every single letter. And here's the trick. First, you'll draw a narrow, tall letter, and you'll add a smaller, wider letter together. So let's apply this on each letter we just drew. So in this case here, I'm starting off with the R. I'm starting off here wider and drawing it in a smaller way, and going the same thing with the S, where I draw a smaller S. Here I'll go out, but I'll draw the T a little bit smaller. I usually start filling out very soon so I can see the style that I'm creating and try to repeat that. Don't forget, always go over it again, try to make some minor adjustments, try to make it more consistent. If it looks wrong, try to do it differently until it looks right. Your intuition will guide you and will not fail you. This video has been brought to you by STABILO, the pen brand that has been supporting me for the last 3 to 4 years. Now I'm only able to create content like this for you guys for free because of brands like them who are supporting me, who are paying my bills. So if you want to support me, support them, and you can buy their awesome products linked in the description below. So congrats, you just finished 3 different styles, which is amazing. Now it's time for you to create and put it into a practice routine. And this is how I would suggest you to do it. On Monday, the first day of the week, you start with drawing 5 to 6 different skeleton versions. Then on the next day, take one of these alphabets and then start adding weight. Adding weight to a full alphabet will take enough time and be just enough for a good practice that you can do every single day. Repeat this exercise every day until Saturday and then start again the next week. Thank you so much for watching. Why don't you hit the like button if you learned something new, share it with someone and help them get better. Subscribe to this channel right now, turn on the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Whew. I'm gonna drink the rest. Oh. Oh. Well, if this didn't spice things up, I don't know what will.